ice setting, and then she could go down and be a mermaid. That's very creative. It's a creative twist to the story. And, you know, they get the environment cleaned up too. And so the story flows pretty well. There's mention of the environment and some illustrations that I can tell that you worked very hard on. So good job. Now, number 8, group 8, I did not notice a title on this, and so I've given it the title of Peter and Edward. And I liked boats that had personalities like that. I used to live in American Samoa, and we would see all kinds of different boats and ships come into the harbor. And so I could imagine the little boat and the big boat. I've seen container ships, and I've also seen littler ships, or little boats. So I love that Edward finally had to be nicer, because Edward was rude, I thought, to Peter, and you did a good job of illustrating that. You could tell. Right here it says, "Ha, what a lovely boat. Are you tired? You better keep swinging your body like a shameful weed, or be broken like a poor tree." That just was not nice of Edward at all. So I'm glad at the end that Edward was salvaged by Peter, and that Edward decided to reflect on his problems and do a self-examination and be nicer. So I hope, it looks like Edward got fixed and that they're happily together at the dock. So I like the story very much. Really like the illustrations. You did a good job. And the story was good too. Okay, number 9, the elege of the polar bears. I had to look up elege. I was not familiar with that word, so good job for using a word, whoops, that I was not familiar with. So I learned something from you. So I liked the story. I really liked the illustrations. I like that it looked like a game starting here. What you could have done is continue this throughout the story, but it's, you know, even if you didn't, it's a nice little start here at the beginning. I think that it's a sad story, though. That's the problem, and it is sad that the polar ice cap is melting. Maybe you could have them, if you wanted to have a happier ending, you could have them inventing some sort of a way to make it colder and turn around the environment. I don't know if that is even possible, but I know that there are machines that make snow for the ski slopes. So maybe somebody could invent a machine that would make the water cooler and keep the ice caps from melting. You might want to think about that. But good story. Just a sad, sad end. And it, you know, if we don't do something, the polar bears will be affected that way. Okay, number 10, group 10. I did not notice a title for that one either, for your story, so I'm just calling it Island Fisherman. And it was a good story. It was a little bit short. I think maybe what you could have done is show some more instances of the fish. Maybe here and there, show the fishermen practicing more about letting the little fish go, And I like, right here, it looks like they're happier, right here, and right here. But maybe the story needs to be a little bit longer. So you might think about that, but it's a good story standing the way that it is. You might want to add some additional details to it to make it even better. Okay, now the little seahorse. Let's see. I think the little seahorse is number 11. Now this is going to take a minute to load because on this machine, after a while, if you open and open things, it takes a while to load if the pictures are memory heavy. But I really like the illustrations in this one. And it was a good story. They, you know, the little seahorse met up with the king seahorse and he went on adventures, and you know, the little seahorse had a good time too. I think it was kind of the king to take the little seahorse around and show him all the different sea creatures. And I think that you made it so that it was obvious that whale was super large. I think what you would want to do maybe to show that even better would be to put a little tiny seahorse over kind of by where the whale is. Maybe over here where they could talk to each other. But maybe just a little tiny picture to show how tiny a seahorse is in reference to a killer whale. So that would be my suggestion there. But good story, very good illustrations. I like that your animals have good expressions. You've done some work so that they look like they have personality, and that's a very good job. It's hard to do that when you are an illustrator. All right, number 12, group 12. 3 Brave Warriors. Well, this was a good old story about rescuing a princess, and I liked it. They did have to get into the ocean to go find her, so I guess that took care of the ocean part. I loved the illustrations of their armor. Nice, scary looking armor. Good job. And I love the cannibalistic sea monsters, horrible whirlpools. There was a lot of action going on. You know, they went to a lot of trouble to get this princess back. So, very nicely done. Glad that the princess was captured. Looks like they were very brave and got her out of the situation. So, happy ending. And in fact, you even wrote happy ending. And I like a happy ending. So, good work there. Okay, the 3 Brave Warriors we just talked about. So now we need to go to Nick's Yacht, which is number 13. And I would suggest here that what you might want to do in this story is keep your yacht looking the same. Now in our country we call this it looks like a rowboat to me. You might want to keep, you know, the boat the same, whatever kind of a boat you choose to use. Just make it so that it's, you know, if he's in that boat first, and at the end it looks like he's in another kind of a boat that almost looks like a little takeout box, or it looks like a boat that you would fold, maybe an origami boat, and get in. And I love that picture, it's beautiful. But you might want to use that kind of a picture at the beginning too. So, like the story. You could add additional details if you wanted, but